Hello, everybody. My name is Leo Betschart, and you are attending a coffee lecture of the Chemistry, Biology, Pharmacy Information Center at ETH Zurich. And today I will give you a quick introduction to OpenAlex, what this is and what it could be used for. And let me dive straight into it. So what is it? OpenAlex, Alex as in the Library of Alexandria. So it's a collection of knowledge and information. Who owns this? Our research is a non-profit, and you may know it from OnPaywall, which is a browser plugin that helps you find openly available versions of documents that are hidden behind a paywall. So it's a plugin. You get a green lock if somewhere another version is available, and it makes it easier to access this research output. So what is OpenAlex? It's an abstract and indexing database. You might know others like Scopus, Web of Science, or Dimensions. Those are the big established ones that are of commercial nature, and OpenAlex aims to do the same or a similar thing, but provide this for free. And what can you find in there? So there's many documents, of course. You can find author profiles. You can look at the sources, but also publishers. There's information on the funders of research institutions, and also some automatically generated concepts. What are the sources of this information, and how does it work with access? The main sources are the former, so this is a product that was stopped, Microsoft Academic Graph, and they took over a lot of information from this, which was well curated. Then Crossref is a institution that provides the DOIs, so these numbers that help you find literature or documents online. And other sources include ORCID, maybe you might know DOHJ, or OnPaywall, as I mentioned before, PubMed and PubMed Central, and then there is others, and even they go into repositories. Access is free and open, so you don't have to pay. There's a web interface, which I will show you in a second, but there is also an API, and you can download basically the whole data set. So they provide regular data dumps, but if you need the up-to-date data, like up to today, this hour, this moment, then you need to go via API to complete the data dumps. And so now let's explore and move into the database. That's what it looks like. If we go there, we have a simple search mask. And today we are going to be searching for molecular gastronomy. And you see, I get some suggestions for titles, or I could just search for this in full text, which I will do. And now I have a problem because it doesn't get displayed. Let me quickly maybe change the browser and hope that we can get a result here. And otherwise, I will resort to screenshots. Okay, I do the same thing again. And we're searching for the thing, and now really we have a problem. So let's go back to the presentation. So I did these searches before, and I can still show you what it looks like. We get a results view where we have a list of what is found, and so all of these somewhere have molecular gastronomy. May that be in the abstract, or if it's open access, it can also be in the full text. And we can sort them. So by default, they are sorted according to importance. I haven't really checked how they calculate that, but I guess it's not easy to understand. So typically I would say, or I would look what is the newest, or some people might also be interested in what are the most cited works, because they might be more important to have a look at. So that's something that you can do. So here, citation count, we can also sort by title, which I think doesn't make too much sense. And then we have a bunch of filters on the right side. They are interactive, so I can click here on a certain year. I can click on this to get only the open access articles, or also then exclude and only look at those that are pay. Then we can look at different topics. So there you can look at a long list, institutions and types. But this is not everything. There's more. If you click on this little plus here, then you get a further list with some additional filters that you can use. I think the most important or interesting ones are probably author, country, institution is already there. If you want to limit yourself to certain languages, and then you have even more filters, and then you have a longer list. And so you can sort of really customize what you want to look at. And so here, for example, I added 2 additional filters, the field and the author. And then, for example, find for my search for molecular gastronomy, I see that Hervé Tis seems to be a very prolific author in this field. So that might be a person I want to check out and inspect a little bit more. I then do a selection just for this author, and then you also see that the numbers change because now all the filters on the right side, they apply only to what I've selected, and we see that about a quarter of his works are open access. Then we can filter for these, and then we have a smaller hit set, and I choose one of these. So here, this is about Hollandaise, which is a sauce that you may know. And so there was some research about the hollandaise. It can dissociate, and then you have a watery and a fatty part. And so the question is, how can you save it? And so there's the hollandaise challenge, and afterwards there's also a follow-up paper, the solution, how you actually do it, or is it possible? And if I click on a detail entry, it looks like this here. So if I click on HTML, it goes to the website at the publishers. And if I click PDF directly, the PDF gets open. So that's nice if I just quickly want to read. If I maybe also need some supporting information of a paper, then I should rather go to the HTML version, because from the PDF, it's then harder to go back. And so here is the solution to the Hollandaise challenge, but I will not solve the mystery here now. I can also click on the author's name, and then sort of a summary of all the documents that are available for the author will appear. And you can also filter here and explore further. And now the last thing that I want to show is the institutional search. So here, for example, I search for ETH, I start typing, and the suggestion appears. So I select this, and then we see I have 160,000 results. And you can see most of them are articles and book chapters, and then there are others as well. Now I apply a second filter. I want to look at last year, what happened there, and also look at the authors. And looking through the names here, we see that a lot of chemists appear. So we have Professor Copperet, Kovalenko, and Perez Ramirez, just from our institute, that seems to have had a really productive year, 2023. And then I want to highlight something else. University rankings are a thing, and up to this date, they mostly were performed with data from Web of Science, and maybe also some of Scopus SciWall. And actually, this year was the first open ranking with open data, and they tried to make this more transparent and more reproducible. So OpenAlex aims to make the data traceable, and so finally you have a ranking which is really clear. This doesn't or is not the case with other university ranking, like the Times Higher Education ranking, because they do their thing and then they tweak it a little bit each year to also sort of get the result that they are happy with. But you don't know what this tweaking is. And so here they say, well, if you want to play the game of university rankings, then at least we make it transparent. And so you know what the rules are, and if you want to go along. And on that note, just yesterday, the University of Zurich has announced that they will no longer take part in these university ranking games. So there is a lot of controversy about it, and I guess you have to make your own opinion what you make of this. So I want to summarize. OpenAlex is a freely available database. It has a broad coverage. I think it's useful for finding literature, and especially because it's open and sort of democratizes this information that, in most cases is paid for by governments. You have access to the data via API. So if you want to need large amount of data, this is really valuable. And we have this successful use case of large university rankings that has now been demonstrated the first time. It's a very young database, so it's only started in the summer of 2022. So it's not even 2 years old. So there's the web interface is very young. That only started at some point last year. Playing around with it, you saw it. I couldn't demonstrate it now with these browsers. I also found when applying different filters, sometimes it didn't act as I would expect it to behave, but I think that will improve. And also they are working on their data quality. And I think I also hear from many of so just within Switzerland, people that work with research data or data on publications, they are really interested in this, and they want to make this better. And I think this will improve quite a lot in the future. And with that, I'm at the end. There is coffee lecture cards here in the front for those who are here physically, and I will quickly copy this link into the chat so the people joining remotely, they also have a chance to download the quick summary. And then I'm open to any questions you might have. Oh, somebody had no sound. I hope it worked for the other ones, but
there was no problem with me.
Okay.
And I answered him.
Good. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Yeah. There are definitely. So the question is, are there the same publications that you find in other places, or are there some missing? I guess there are still quite a bunch missing. So just my boss, Oliver Wren, he was playing around with it a little bit, and he could not find all of his publications that he would find in other systems. But he's shown me demos before that also the number of hits is different in, like Scopus is probably different from Google Scholar and from Web of Science or Dimension. So there will always be differences, I guess. And I would also say that, yeah, this is going to improve over time. I found, for example, very quickly, so I recently produced a preprint of some of my thesis work and then a publication, and I found both of these. So I think the very current work is well indexed. Probably it will take them time to also go back and do the backlog. That would be my suspicion, because typically sort of most people, they need the really new stuff to be able to do their work. And the older things get, the less they are searched for. And so at least if I were to set up such a system, I would do it in that way to make the most impact on the users. Yeah. Any other questions? If you have some from the chat, let me see if there's anything. No. Otherwise, feel free to unmute and ask. Any other here from the audience? Yeah. I have only managed to do it with the filters to address the concepts for a search. Also, I saw some interesting behavior that if you, so all of this is typically additive. So there could be some improvement in how things are done. I also I'm still not sure if booleans would be interpreted correctly. So some of these search tactics that I expect from other places to create really specific searches, they are not yet available, or they are not obvious that they are there. I've seen some things where you can, for example, use or not things to sort of include synonyms or extend your search or exclude certain stuff. But I think there's still room for improvement. Yeah. Okay. Then I thank you for your attention. I will stop the broadcast now. And also here on the audience, thank you very much. Have a nice afternoon.